Generic greetings and welcome back once again to Prison Architect, and once again doing an extreme testing initiative where we put the recently completed prisons through their paces. In this case we are looking at the completed island facility, which is, well, in no particular order, a medium and low sec on the left hand side, a high risk on the middle, we have max sec at the top middle, and then on the top right here we have our death row. And we're going to put it through certain stages where we see what happens if all prisoners would riot, would fight, or just be armed with every weapon you can possibly give them. And that gives us an indication as to how the prison may fare under, albeit fairly artificial scenarios. So we're going to go over to our staff here, and this is a mod that we've got, and we're going to go to probably instant jailbreak, then fight, then riot, and then the other one, which is armed. So jailbreak, we will place that down, and then every prisoner in the facility, their desire is now to escape. So some of them may fight, but normally they will fight because they want a particular thing to get out. Now, we've done a test previously with this area, and we've seen what happens. So prisoners obviously rushing out through the security room and trying to leave that way. Same for this one where they try and break through here, but now we have a couple more weak points. We have a weak point here, and we have a weak point here. Also, this is an unknown now because we didn't have this built when we did an escape previously. So now they're going to try and break through that and then out this way. So we can see we have had a death straight away, and that is due to the prisoners trying to escape in the max sec area here. We have several prisoners who are running to the front entrance, and look at them all, they're all fully armed. Look, they've got loads of batons there because they've probably nicked them from security, and they're now heading round. Now you notice I'm not doing anything to stop this. I'm not calling anybody in or anything like that because I want to see how the guards would fare. You could argue that putting it on lockdown would work, but they've already broken open these doors anyway, so that isn't the case on that front. You can see that already a lot of them have been stopped around this area, but several of them are now swimming out. So this is the high risk, the supermax area. The people are now able to get out. In the center here we have obviously the snipers who are pointing sniper rifles at people, and yeah, you can see we've already got the people who've put the hands up. Some fights around here. There's the first escape, which is up the top, which is expected. Looks to be nobody around the security area, and there we go. There is the weak point that we expected, which we did actually see in a previous test. So they are trying to get through here, but the majority of them are actually just fighting or trying to swim around this area. We also have some prisoners on the low and medium sec which have made it to the security room, but they haven't destroyed the door control system and they haven't managed to breach the outer defences, so that is actually okay. A lot of them here have put their hands up and have surrendered, some obviously unconscious, and it looks like an army of workers are going home to do things. We've had 9 escapes. We have several of them up the top here, but looks like that has pretty much ceased now. But we've also got some down the bottom, so they've managed to fight out through the security room around the corner, and they are now starting to escape and swim that way. Although this prisoner here, which is insert clever name here, they're probably going to run to about this location and then trying to escape, because we've seen that happen previously. Danger level is naturally going up, and some of these prisoners I expect not to actually be able to swim out. In fact, there you go. So that person wasn't able to, 2 of them, but neither of them managed to swim out because of how far that is. Another way to make this a lot more secure, instead of putting, say, fences around it, is to buy the land on all 4 sides, because when you buy the land it asks you how do you want to expand it, and you can expand it to include islands or just to be ocean, and that's what we'd probably do. And I think that's pretty much it. So we've had several fatalities, most of them probably just fighting, or they, fighting the armed guards, or not adhering to what the snipers are telling them to do. But only, I think, 9 escapes, mainly around the supermax, which is the prisoners, to be fair, you want to keep inside. No breach in death row there, not that I expected it, and not as much violence over here. Okay, let's try that again, but this time we're probably going to have a look at instant fight to see what the prisoners' behaviours are. So it's the same save, same time period. Let's go for an instant fight, and we'll see what happens. I expect everybody to just start smashing things up, but remember, this is not a breakout, or not necessarily a breakout. They may want to do that. It all reverts to prisoner type, really, but most of them are just punching things around the area. You can see we've got lots of flashing to say that, yes, we do have some people fighting. You can see pretty much anything that can leak is leaking around here. Not just the showerheads, but also the prisoners. And that means that there's there's lots of liquid in the Supermax area there. Same thing around here. They're breaking up the toilets and the showers if they have access to them. And we're now starting to get some fatalities. Some of the prisoners fight each other. Some of them, or most of them by the look of it, are just breaking any of the... they're just breaking the stuff in their cells. Several deaths here. And I'm guessing most of it is where the armed guards are, yeah. These are on free fire, so they're really not putting up with it. We can see there's a couple of people with their hands up, and that's a lot of water just around the place there. And we've had a couple of them try to escape around here, but it looks like the doors have not been breached. Same around this area, and around here, and this area. And basically, I think it's pretty much calming down now. The guards are pretty much stopping all of this. There's still the odd skirmish here and there, but basically, that's it. You can see they've stopped. They've either been cuffed, or they've put their hands up, or they've just been knocked unconscious, or whatever. So actually a fairly sedate one, and we've still got a couple of bits of fight. Of course, a bit of fighting around here, but nothing we can't handle. And certainly if we were managing this with guard response and lockdowns and even calling the emergency services in, it would be alright. But yeah, there we go. That was fairly sedate. Okay, let's see what happens if it's not so sedate. And what I mean by that is we're going to do an instant riot. So it means that all prisoners, 125 it was originally, out of 126, but now it's dropping, will start to riot. So their objective is just to not only fight, but take control of territory. So they are working together. Now, it doesn't mean that they won't harm each other, but their state is such that they want to take things. So they're ripping their shirts off, they are rioting, jumping up and down, punching jail doors, trying to escape and take control of things. Because it is currently lockup, obviously all of the prisoners are behind these doors anyway. Some of them look to have trying to break out around here, which is understandable. Because they're rioting, they may have been wanting to go to, say, the security room or whatever, or even the canteen and kitchen to get equipment and anything they can use to fight. See, it is rioting around here. If everybody was in, say, yard time, it might be a different story. 3 deaths so far. Just going to double check over here. Looks like control has been wrestled away from the guards, so the medium risk cell block is under control by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 prisoners in here. Looks like the low risk is... Oh, we've actually got someone here, John Wirtz, who is... Well, they've actually taken out a guard there and is now just happily rioting away. Evans and Sean here are wandering around. Actually, Sean is working. They're not rioting. The rioting ones are obviously the ones that are jumping up and down like that. They're actually trying to break into solitary. Maybe if they put themselves in there, it'll save us a job later on, but we'll see where that one goes. Looks like they've not tried to take over the canteen. Looks like the only place taken over then has actually been this area. So, once again, if this was to happen when they were all in lockdown like the way, you can see it's actually fairly easy to control. We have had, and still do have some fighting down here. This is in the staff-only area, so where have they broken through? They've went through the chapel here, broken down that chapel door, which is interesting because they don't actually need to break it down. That's just a standard door. There's no reason for them to break it. It functions quite well on the hinges. And then obviously they had to break through that visitor door, which is exactly what they've done. They've come down this area, which is staff-only, and are now fighting near the security room, but that's now been pretty much stopped. And... there you go. That's been that pretty much done. We can have a look in here. This is our protective custody. Both Ellis and Taylor are injured, but that's pretty much it. They didn't even make it past. Well, looks like they didn't even make it out their cell. But there you are. 7 are rioting. We could wait for that to finish, but we know it's over here, and eventually the guards are going to do it. So that's fairly secure. Right, let's try something that wouldn't happen, but is always interesting. And what I mean by that, and people who've seen the series before know what's going to happen here, we're going to make sure and arm every single prisoner. So it ranges from handguns to sniper rifles to assault rifles, a bit of a stick there, drills, we've got some submachine guns, shotguns, the lot. And oh yeah, that's a lot more violent than when it was previously. So now that the armed guards have basically a little bit of competition here, you can see that Oh, looks like this prison here, they're all armed, but they're not just fighting for the sake of it. They are now armed, so they're thinking, right, what do I want to do? And most of them are wanting to escape. However, Evans here just wants to set fire to his own cell within it, which is an interesting decision. We can see that there's a lot of flashing for the guards there, and also a lot more water, which is good because it'll put that fire out, so got that going for us, which is nice. The visitors are still coming in, which is curious. And, oh no, they're very much getting back on that ferry. Yes, I'm just here to visit my son, and oh god, turn around. You can see that the prisoners here, the low-risk prisoners, they're not actually fighting. See that? They're fully armed, but they're not fighting. They're actually dumping their weapons in the sea and now trying to escape here, and they may even do that. We have had 4 escapes, which is actually for the high-risk prisoners that have escaped through the security room and then out and round. However, we had, naturally, the most deaths that we have seen here. And we've still got more fighting. Some of them are just shooting the place up because they can. Some of them are fighting each other. Some of them are breaking stuff. And now we've got a riot underway. Where is the riot? Well, I don't know where it is or where control's been wrestled from. And 14 escapes. So, oh, and that actually is, look at that. We've got Addie Ellis here, who's sadly died trying to escape. But they have actually made it all the way from here. Ah, yes. Looks like they were armed with something that goes blam blam. And then they've shouted more Dakar at this door, even more Dakar at that door, and then continued to Dakar away and then get to that point, and then they didn't have the swimming DLC. So they hadn't got no further. And then the riot is almost finished. Obviously, we could, if we wanted to, call in some elite ops teams if we wanted to, but that costs money. So I guess, actually, we can't. We'd have to take a loan out, but it's possible. And the riot is still a little bit underway. Okay. Well, apparently that's what happens when every single prisoner is totally armed to the teeth with all manner of weapons and equipment, and that place has seen better days, hasn't it? Yeah, you can see this has actually been taken over. So riot. There's only 8 prisoners rioting, but they're taking over this area, and I think this is starting. I think they're starting to take over this area as well because it's starting to go. Yeah, there is a little red hue, although actually no, we're wrestling back control there, so it's just this one. Alright, so apparently, yeah, arming everybody makes the most deaths in the prison and also most escapes. If we had some more money, we could easily get money. Just go over to Grants, go to bank loan, and, you know, just call in some elite ops, no problem, and paramedics. Could do all of that. And, you know, there they are. They're coming down. They're going to land in different areas near the helipads and stuff. We'll repel them in. Do all of that. Let's get these helicopters over here. You to there. You to there. There's the helicopter. There's the helicopter. And then there's the helicopter. Tell the helicopter to move, but it's not doing it. Come on. Go to there. And then you go deploy squad. And they get on the ropes. And it's go, go, go. Even though you can't see. Oh no, there's the rope. Yeah, you can see the rope there. And they're rappelling down. And we'll do the same over here. And these guys are now armed. They're also extremely well trained. Not in trigger control, but, you know, they are well trained. And deploy squad. And there you go. And then they're rappelling down. Looks really cool, that one. And then, obviously, we can then take control of them and start wrestling back control of the facility like that. Which will stop the riot. Oh, are they actually not going in there? Won't allow me to put them in there, which is interesting. That looks like they're taking control of that. So those in there. Yeah, and then they can go in there now. And then that's the riot pretty much over with. Well, there you are. That's been a bit of the Extreme Testing Initiative, and I don't think it's anything major in terms of our findings. I expected the people that were going to escape when we did the first test, when we did the instant jailbreak. I expected that to be more successful. Once again, the weakness was up here, which we expected as well, because these are the toughest of the tough, with all of the really serious traits, and most of these prisoners at the top are legendary. So I expected them to get quite far. 4 or 5 escaped that way, and we also had a bit of a problem around here. So, I mean, we could, you know, place more fencing, but we've had problems with the transport ferries and the docks, so that's why we haven't. But overall, no great surprises. good to see that we are fairly secure, even without controlling any lockdown or any, we're not doing any bang-ups, we're not doing any lockdowns, we're not using guard responses, we didn't call in any of these guys. Admittedly, they did start in their cells, so they're already behind individual bars anyway, so, maybe that skewed the results somewhat, but it's not necessarily all about that. It's just a little bit of a mess around and seeing how the prison fares, and I was going to say fares quite well, but as you can see, maybe not in this on this one, but it is an artificial test, so you wouldn't get this naturally within any facility unless your facility was built on a weapons dump that you didn't know. Either way, hope it has been enjoyable for yourself and a little bit of a mess around there. If you want to see more of this sort of thing, by all means let us know, and as always, comments in the comments. Thanks very much for watching, take care, and generic partings.